Feeling hungry? I know you are, one way or another. Welcome to the Results Kill Excuses show. I'm your host, Greg. We be talking about life. Life is what we're talking about here. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about hunger. Anybody hungry? Hunger. Are you hunger or are you hungry? What are you hungry for? When you get hungry, where does that hunger go? I smell some pizza. I smell cookies. Do you smell it? Do you smell it? Uh-oh, I smell something really special. If you stick around, you'll find out what that special is. As I've been saying, I want to stop to give thanks to all the new subscribers, listeners, people jumping in on this show. I do it my way, and I think that's the best. That's the best way to do it, is to do it from the heart first, from the spirit, the soul, and really just put myself out there to the world, knowing what I have been through in order to get to this place right now. Well, where is this place? That's what you're asking yourself. Who is this guy? What does he think he knows? It's not what I think I know, it's what I know. And if we replay the tape of my life 12 years ago, coming up now here real soon, July 22nd, 2012 is when I hit my rock bottom. It could not have been any harder of an impact. Like, it was hard. It was hard. And it was in that moment that I realized these three things. First, I realized I needed to take extreme ownership for my life. Extreme ownership of my life. I needed to take an account on what were the things in my life that were no longer serving me. And the number one thing front and center was my addiction to alcohol. And secondly was weed. And third, I needed to ask for some help. I needed help. I couldn't do it alone. I was finally sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I wanted solutions. I wanted to feel healthier, and I wanted to feel like I could have confidence in trusting myself and who I had become, because there was something about the thing inside of me. And when I say the thing, I'm talking about the emotional, wounded version of myself, that I didn't know what that was. Most of us don't. So when I start talking about this stuff, y'all are going to be like, maybe the light bulb comes off. Maybe it's finally a moment of clarity where you're like, wait, is that really what's going on? And yet the biggest hunger that I had in that season was I no longer wanted to feel the guilt, the shame, the regret by looking in the eyes of the people I loved most, knowing that I had hurt them. I had caused them pain. And again, hurting people hurt themselves first, because I can only give to you what I have. And I'm fortunate enough right now, I show up with unconditional love. And where does that unconditional love come from? The unconditional love is for myself now. And if we replay the tape prior to 2012, I hated myself. I despised myself. I felt like a fucking failure, a loser, complete, utter failure in life. And the truth of the matter is yes, I had made some mistakes. Yes, I had fucked up, but that doesn't mean that I was a total failure. And yet, the journey I set out on then has led me to here. And that's why I keep getting on this at 444, if you believe in these synchronicities, is because I truly believe that I have now accomplished and been prepared for a time such as this, for me to now give back the gift I have given myself. And what is that gift? It's to truly be able to trust myself in any situation, emotionally speaking, any kind of circumstances. I now have a level of self mastery over who I am, how I behave. Does it mean I'm perfect? No, I'm not saying I am perfect. But what I do know is that I have to apologize less and less and less for the behavior and the conduct and the man that I show up as. And even when I do have to pull something back, it's the infraction is really small and minute versus the long lasting devastating impressions that I would make, especially on people that I genuinely just loved and cared for, and I know they felt the same for me. But because I was carrying around so much pain and hurt and unresolved trauma from my youth, from my adolescence, through my 20s, I mean, all I knew how to do was to either numb that pain, suppress that pain, and then when things got crazy and the shit hit the fan, obviously I would have ruptures, and those ruptures would literally set me back from having intimacy. And I'm not just talking sex, I'm talking about having stability and intimacy and security in my life, meaning that I could have people that could count on me, could trust me, depend on me. And underneath the surface, I didn't feel dependable. I didn't feel trustworthy. I couldn't trust myself because it was the craziest thing that when I would get triggered, I didn't even know what that was then, but something would, like a, button. A lot of times we would say, you're pushing my buttons. Someone would push my buttons and this rupture would happen. And when it did, I felt like I was an observer. I wasn't even in control of what the fuck was going on. Inside of me was the little boy saying, no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. And then there was this other beast coming out, just wreaking havoc, trying to protect that little boy. And yet today's topic that I want to dig into a little deeper is knowing that as men, right? Because I do believe that I am here to reach men that are ready to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and put in the work. If you're willing to put in the work, I will go to work with you. With you. Did you hear that? I'll go to work with you. I will go on this journey for as long as I need to with you, as long as you are putting in work and not self-sabotaging yourself and you're showing up in a true and authentic way. And this is not to exclude women. Women, you're welcome to join this as well, because I do believe that I have a message that it transcends boundaries. But I do know that I've had a lot of coaching and mentoring that's saying you need to focus on one avatar, right? One type of person that you truly are trying to reach. And if I look in the mirror, I'm trying to reach the man and the men that are me 12 years ago plus. And yet I know that there's a lot of women that are searching for these same type of answers. And I commend you, because women need to do the emotional heavy lifting just as much as men do, because at the end of the day, I have been in relationships going through my healing process where I could not hold a container for a woman that isn't truly putting in the work for herself. To just contain somebody, to contain them, is like enabling a drug addict to say, hey, it's okay if you do your drugs in my house. I just don't want you out in the street doing the drugs. So I'm going to create this space for you here in my house, and you can do all the drugs you want. It's like, no, you have to put in the work, own your shit. We all have to own our shit. It's the most, romantic, sexy thing ever. In 24 is when people own their shit. When you own the dark energy inside of you, the dark masculine, the dark feminine energies, and just own it, saying, "Yep, I'm being a total asshole. Yes, I'm being a total bitch." And that's the real talk you're gonna get here on Results Kill Excuses, because we need to heal. We need to heal ourselves first. And then as we do that, guess what? We're going to be able to provide these spaces to cultivate collaborative healing, collective healing, community healing, and hopefully all around the world. I truly believe Gabor Mate and his philosophy, his beliefs that all addictions are rooted in trauma, unresolved trauma. So that tells me that most suffering on this planet is because people don't understand how to heal their emotional trauma and to reprogram the emotional state of being. And so, how does this all tie into hunger? Here's the thing. If you don't, here's the thing. If you lack purpose in life, direction in life, an aim in life, let's call it some goals. If you do not have something you are working towards right here, right now, today, like a positive thing, it could be you're working towards completing a degree as an adult, as a non-traditional student, going back to school to learn some new skills so that you can elevate your economic standing. If you don't have a fitness and health goal that you are relentlessly putting in work every single day to try and improve yourself, to improve your health, health is wealth, right? Then you're missing out. If you don't have a goal to improve your financial standings, which may include, right, changing up your nutrition habits, changing up your cultural patterns for food and meals and ingredients used in meals and the convenience of fast food and junk food and all kinds of other things. If you don't have a goal that you're truly working towards, right, then guess what? Your hunger is going to go to these other places. Cause see, the thing is a lot a lot of inspirational coaches that I've followed throughout the years, they always talk about hunger. Tony Robbins, probably the biggest one. He talks about hunger. When you have hunger, the thing is we all have hunger, right? But if you're someone that has literally let yourself go, and I did it in my 30s, when I say let yourself go, I'm talking about literally just ready to throw in the towel. So you don't care about your health, you don't care about your appearance that much, you don't care about your mental state of being, you don't really care about your physical appearance, you don't really care about if you're using drugs or alcohol or other shit on the weekends, sitting there vegging out. You literally just do not have any self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth that you are actually willing to put in the work. You're just alive, barely, if that's even considered being alive. You're just there. But the thing is that your stomach growls and you say, I need to eat. So you have hunger. You start feeling nervous because a situation has happened between you and your partner, and you say, "Oh, I'm." There's a sensation that comes up that feels like a hunger, like it's an appetite, and so you say, "You know what? I need a drink." Right? All this arguing, all this drama. I need to dull that edge, so I need a drink. That's hunger, right? Because when you get a craving for something that's hunger driven, and I hope you see where I'm going with this, is that if you are not where your focus goes, that's where energy flows. So if you're thinking about how the drink serves you, how the weed serves you, how the porn serves you, how the ice cream or the sweets or the salty food or the processed food or the fast food, how that serves you, That's where your focus is. So that's where your energy goes. So that when you feel a hunger or a craving, you're going to keep going back to those familiar places. And even though your esteem and your self-worth is just going down and down and down and down, it makes you're going to go on the path of least resistance, meaning what's the easiest thing for you to go to, versus if you have a total change of mind, a total change of your perspective, an elevation in how you are thinking and looking at the world. And now you're saying, you know, I want to be in incredible shape. So then guess what? You start to have a hunger for what? The gym, for the things that get you in shape. You start to have a hunger for that. You hunger for it because once you have consistently done it over a period of time and you start to actually reap the benefits and see the results, it doesn't happen overnight, right? It's earned. But once you do, you start to have a hunger to say, man, I want to keep feeling good about myself. I want to keep feeling proud and feeling sexy and feeling strong and having energy and power and having other people take notice. Like, man, that feels really good. Versus the opposite of like feeling embarrassed, feeling ashamed, not wanting to take your shirt off at a pool party, or, you know, now it's the summer, like wearing a swim outfit versus just some tight trunks or a bikini. Like, I've been there. I know what that shame is. I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm so fat and pale, and, like, I'm so scared to take off my shirt here. This is so embarrassing. What if someone takes a picture of me or something, sees me? What if I see someone I know, they're gonna see how fat and gross I am?" And then you usually just even avoid that stuff as much as possible, or you wear swim outfits, which is a new thing. It's a new thing. With half of men being obese and women, I don't think it's any better. Um, People are wearing swim outfits. It's no longer bikinis and swim trunks. It's swim outfits. And nutrition isn't the only thing, right? Financial isn't the only thing. Education isn't the only thing. However, all of those things combined is actually improvement in all of those things. Guess what? Improves who you are. It definitely improves your esteem. But what I've learned along the way is that, and the reason why this is so different than everything else, is because we have to start on the inside with the emotions, with the trauma, with the childhood wounding. 0 to 10 years old, what the hell we went through between that age bracket that has thus played itself out throughout our teens into adulthood to this very day. You wouldn't be listening to this if you were already like, oh yeah, no, I've already healed all my childhood trauma. And like, no, you should be out there speaking if you're there. Join me in owning your voice, sharing your story, because the world needs that right now. Because I know plenty of people that are super motivational, fit buffs, and yet I can tell that they lack self mastery over their emotional state of being. They're still very easily triggered and angered and get very defensive, which tells me that they've used the gym as a source of therapy, but they haven't done the internal work. And that's where I started. And that is where this message is. And that's what makes it different. Is we're talking about doing the emotional heavy lifting. And that is a journey of self-discovery all the way through self-mastery, because you literally have to go from self-discovery to acceptance of who you are, forgiveness, take some time to heal, and then we start to reimagine, redefine who you are, to truly identify that greatness within. And I'm just so grateful to be here in a place like this, because I am coming from a place of genuine realness, the truth, my truth. It doesn't have to be your truth. If this is not your truth, then carry on. but I am here to serve people that are ready to try something, that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, that want real results, knowing that sometimes the magic tricks just don't work. What do I mean by magic tricks? Quick fixes. Anything that says in an instant, say these words, do this 5-step thing, something that is easy, that doesn't require a whole lot. It usually doesn't truly sustain itself for the long term. There's usually still some issues underneath the surface, in the core, the deepest, darkest parts of who we are. And that's where I'm going with this. That's where I am trying to take you throughout my journey. When I hit rock bottom, I gave up alcohol right away. That was the worst. Then THC. But post the sobriety from alcohol and THC, I developed what I called a sweet tooth. And it took me literally almost 10 and a half years to come to the awareness that I didn't have no sweet tooth. There's no sweet tooth. That's a limiting belief. And it was literally just, again, we have this habit, right? If you stop doing one thing, that vacuum has to be filled with something of equal or greater value to you. If not, the old thing's coming back home. And y'all probably know what I'm talking about, because you've tried this and you've tried it and you've tried it again. But you're not putting something in the place of what you're removing that is of equal or greater value to you. And so I put sweet tooth there. And I used to have just candies and ice creams and sweets. And I finally, like 2 years ago, saw this meme that was talking about, you don't have a sweet tooth, you have unresolved childhood trauma. And even though I had been working on the childhood trauma for years and years, I knew that I needed to even sit deeper in the uncomfortable emotional state of being. And a lot of times what that shows up as hunger, as a craving, because there's something, like, our bodies are designed in such a way that when you need something, it sets an alert. And it says, we're dying of thirst. Please ingest water. Like, our body knows. You start getting rumblings and grumblings of you haven't eaten all day. Your body says, hello, I'm hungry. And so we ingest food. And the same is true with anything else that we're needing. Is this body is designed that when you need, and it is based on your programs. So if you start feeling stressed out and you have developed a habit of the hunger of when you are stressed, that triggers a hunger, and the solution that you have been feeding yourself when you are stressed is alcohol, drugs, porn, you fill in the blank, right? Your body, when it feels stressed, it creates a hunger response that thus says, hey, give me more of what we've been doing. We've created this habit. And it's literally subconscious. You're not thinking about this stuff, but you've created this hunger pattern. When you're feeling nervous, right? When I was feeling nervous, unloved, abandoned, rejected, right? My body, the way that I would feed it was sweets, right? I was like, wait, I feel so uncomfortable. Oh man, I need some candy. I need a dessert. I need some ice cream. I need something, right? And I created this hunger versus sitting there and saying, oh, that's not hunger. That's an emotion that needs to be identified. It needs to be seen and heard and felt and experienced, and then we need to allow ourselves to go to the root of it. Because even though it's triggered in the now, it's rooted in the way distant past. Because we never healed the childhood trauma. the origin of the pain, of the emotional trauma, of the wounding, it hasn't been healed. Time doesn't heal this shit. We have to literally sit there in the uncomfortable, give it a name, identify we're gonna call it, and it's not just any name, it's an emotional name. Is this fear? Is this anger? Is this anxiety? Is this feeling overwhelmed? Am I scared? Am I nervous? Am I uncertain? It's usually the negatives, right? We don't care if we're feeling joyful and blissful and peaceful, but that's what we want. We want the corresponding opposite to kick in. And yet in our own search for relief, we find these things, whether it's food, drugs, or whatever's in between, we find these things on the outside that give us a temporary, short-lived sense of relief, thus thus soothing the hunger pain that the emotion is trying to express to you. And it's going to take the courageous version of you to be able to start to sit in those pains, those uncomfortable, without going to your default, whatever you have programmed yourself to run to soothe the hunger, which is really, we can substitute hunger with an emotional response within our body, a discomfort. And yet, I am here to help guide you along this process in depth. And if you haven't heard about it yet, we have submitted the Results Kill Excuses Personal Development Academy to the Apple and the Android app stores. Apple is already live if you're watching this right now after July 6th, 2024. If you're watching this, Apple is live and ready to rock and roll. If you're on Android, it's coming very, very, very soon. And there's 25 free lessons that are valued at over $1,500 that help to start establishing some self-reflection, some self-discovery. And one of them actually happens to be called Breaking Up with My Addictions. And addiction isn't just drugs and alcohol. We could be addicted to negative thinking. We could be addicted to gambling, to porn, to social media. We're addicted to sweets, to food, right? To self-sabotaging behaviors, to toxic relationships. There's like endless addictions right now in this world. And Gabor Mate says all addictions are rooted in what? Right? Unresolved trauma. All we want is a sense of relief when you have everything you need right now to heal yourself. You don't have to go looking anywhere else other than within. But yet a lot of time, this is so new that many people haven't been taught this. None of us are taught this shit. We learn about everyone else's history. We don't get to learn about ourselves throughout our school year life. And I know that I have experienced what I've experienced, which is a tremendous amount of grief and suffering, and thus healing and growth now, right? There's a balance and counterbalance to everything. My suffering and my pain is equal to my healing and my growth and my expansion. And yet here I am to deliver this message. Download the app if you haven't downloaded the app. Type in those 3 magic words, Results Kill Excuses. And if it pops up, download it and start checking out that content. If you're able to listen to this message for this amount of time, then you're my type of people, right? Because I'm not somebody that's on here trying to go viral and get all kinds of likes for doing dumb and stupid shit. I'm here speaking from the heart, sharing my life with you, exposing the vulnerability and the openness of my experience throughout my life, and certainly throughout from my rock bottom moment and all the events leading up to that, and then ultimately throughout the healing, growth, and expansion transcendent experience where I have now aligned myself with the absolute best version of me. And I am now fulfilling my purpose and my calling on this planet because I know that this is very different than what anybody else is trying to serve up. But yet it will become more and more and more popular because I believe this is God's will for humanity, that everything we've been running to for relief, for distraction, is if it's not to Him, if it's not to becoming the best version of ourselves, if it's really just to check out of life, then all of that is fading away. It's stable. And you know what I'm talking about if you're hearing my voice. And the thing is I know my time is now, which thus means your time is also now. And we need each other. And I will continue to show up here each and every day to give this message, to guide people to the app, to this free 25 lessons for self-discovery. Everything you need is right there to start on a journey. If you don't know where to start there. Right. Also, and that's where I would start. Because even there, if you haven't even made the decisions to start releasing some of the vices, that is in there. This is truly the place to start. The Results Kill Excuses app, the 25 free lessons that are valued at over $1,500. That is where you start if you don't know where to start today. Start there. Start watching the videos on the introduction and the greetings page, and then just pick one of the courses. There's a video talking about that too. So I welcome you into this tribe, this community, right, of like-minded, heart-centered humans that are truly just trying to be the best version of themselves. We're done bullshitting ourselves. We're done bullshitting others. All we want is results. All we want is some relief. All we want is the confidence to trust ourselves, to learn how to love ourselves. And as we do that, guess what? We're going to learn how to love others unconditionally. If you improve the relationship you have with yourself, you will improve the relationship you have with others. And you're also going to attract higher quality people that align with you as your best self. Such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing to take off all the masks, to take off all the bullshit, to just like be like, oh, I can stop faking it. I can stop faking it. I can stop running myself exhausted, trying to figure out what to say and walking on eggshells. Yes. But you got to be real and you got to be willing to let go of the vices, embrace the healing path, the healing journey, right? Working on yourself, making that your addiction is to work on yourself, becoming the best version of yourself. That is your purpose right here, right now, is to be the best version of yourself. Anything that does not enhance you as a human being towards the best version of you, it needs to go. Cut it off. Kill it. I'm going to keep showing up here for you guys. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, subscribe and share this message. Comment down below if this message is resonating with you. And I will see you back here again. You know the drill. Results kill excuses. Transform your sick and tired into optimal and unstoppable. Greg's out.